The kitchen smells wrong. Ash and old fear copper undertones that shouldn't exist in a place meant for nourishment. 3 in the morning silence has a particular quality in Stonekeep, the kind that makes even small sounds feel like violations. My boots don't echo on the flagstones. 32 years of tracking prey taught me how to move through darkness without disturbing it. I shouldn't be here. Should have announced my return through proper channels, let the guards wait gone through the formal rituals of homecoming. But 3 days early from Northern Patrol means 3 days without protocol, without expectation, without the weight of the crown pressing down on every gesture. Just K.L. Stone, walking through his own home like a ghost. The service entrance near the kitchen stays unlocked for staff rotation. I push through expecting emptiness. The hour between midnight and dawn when even the most diligent servants sleep. Instead, I find her. She kneels before the hearth, scraping ash from stones with methodical precision. The kind of focus that speaks of routine, of muscle memory carved by necessity. Her dark auburn hair hangs in a braid down her spine, strands escaping to frame a face I can only see in profile. The dress she wears is undyed linen thin and worn patched in several places. She works quickly, silently, as though afraid to disturb the night itself. Recognition flickers. Beta Warren's daughter. Seen her occasionally over the years, always in the background, always silent. Kitchen staff, I think. Maybe laundry. The kind of pack member who exists in peripheral vision, never demanding attention, never asking for anything. I realize with uncomfortable clarity that I know almost nothing about her beyond her name and parentage. The floorboard creaks beneath my weight. Not loud, but in this silence it might as well be thunder. Her reaction is immediate and visceral. She jerks upright, spanning toward the sound. The movement pulls her dress tight across her shoulders. Worn fabric tears at the seam. Not dramatically, just the quiet surrender of material pushed past its limits one too many times. The right side of her bodice falls away, exposing her shoulder and the upper curve of her back. What I see makes my wolf surge forward with violent fury I haven't felt since Liana died 3 years ago. Her skin is a landscape of brutality. Fresh welts, angry and red cross older scars that have healed white and raised. The pattern is unmistakable to anyone with military training. These are not accidental injuries, not falls or kitchen burns or any of the explanations that will undoubtedly follow. These are deliberate, systematic, administered with precision, designed to cause maximum pain while avoiding permanent damage to vital areas. Someone has been torturing her for years. She gasps, eyes going wide with recognition. Green. Her eyes are green like new leaves in spring, and right now they're filled with terror that makes something twist painfully in my chest. She grabs at the torn fabric, trying desperately to cover herself, but her hands shake so violently she can barely hold it in place. The words come out broken, catching in her throat. Your Majesty, I didn't know you'd returned. I was just finishing the hearth before morning. I'll leave at once. She drops into an awkward curtsy, wincing as the movement pulls at her injuries. Stop. The command comes out harsher than I intend. My wolf is too close to the surface, responding to the scent of blood and fear that fills the small space. I force myself to gentle my tone. Stand up, please, just stand up. She obeys but keeps her eyes fixed on the floor. Her whole body trembles. The fierce scent intensifies, sharp and acrid. It makes something in my chest constrict, makes breathing difficult. This is not the fear of someone caught doing something wrong. This is the fear of someone who expects violence. How did you get those marks? Silence. She presses her lips together, hands twisting in the torn fabric until her knuckles go white. I fell, yesterday, carrying water. It was clumsy of me. Too fast, rehearsed. The kind of lie told so many times it comes automatic. Look at me. She flinches at the command but raises her eyes. In the dim firelight I can see they're a striking green, the color of forest canopy in summer. They're also filled with profound terror that makes my breath catch. This is not the fear of being caught in a transgression. This is the fear of someone who has learned to expect nothing but pain. Those marks were not made by falling. Those are whip marks from a training lash, specifically the kind used in the practice yards for soldiers who break formation. Her lips press together. She says nothing, but her hands twist in the torn fabric of her dress until knuckles go white. You have at least 24 scars visible right now. Some are years old. You didn't get those from falling. Still silence. But tears gather in her eyes, though she blinks them back with fierce determination. I keep my distance, sensing that if I move closer, she might bolt. My wolf snarls inside my mind, demanding to know who did this, demanding blood and retribution. I force the rage down, knowing it will only terrify her further. Who did this to you? No one, Your Majesty. I told you I fell. Ember. I make her name gentle, a question rather than demand. I can see what these are. I need you to confirm it. She shakes her head, tears finally spilling over, despite her efforts. Please, please, I must return home before dawn. If I'm late, there will be consequences. The careful phrasing tells me everything. Consequences, not from neglecting her duties. From someone who monitors her movements, who will punish tardiness. Someone who has trained her to fear the very concept of being noticed. My hands curl into fist at my sides. My wolf snarls, pushing against control, demanding release. But I force it down. She needs calm, not more threats. Turn around, let me see your back. Your Majesty, please. That was not a request. She turns slowly, lowering the torn fabric completely. What I see makes my vision go red at the edges. The fresh welts are worse than I initially thought. Some have broken the skin, leaving thin lines of dried blood. But it's the older scars that truly horrify me. Layers upon layers of them, crisscrossing her entire back from shoulders to waist. Some are thin lines, others thick and ropey from improper healing. This has been happening for years, many years. The pattern is unmistakable. Military precision. Someone with training, with access to discipline equipment, with authority to act without question. Who? The word comes out as a growl. My wolf is too close now, pushing against my control. Her shoulders hunch inward, making herself smaller. I cannot or will not. It doesn't matter. Her voice is barely audible. Please, Your Majesty, I am no one. I am less than no one. What happens to me is of no concern to anyone. I just need to finish my work and go home. Less than no one. The words detonate in my chest with sickening clarity. Someone has convinced this woman, this pack member, someone I am sworn to protect, that her suffering doesn't matter, that she has no value, that she deserves this. I move closer, unable to stop myself. She tenses, but doesn't flee. You are the daughter of my beta. You are a member of this pack. That makes you very much my concern. My father would not agree with that assessment. The words slip out before she can stop them. Her eyes go wide with horror at her own admission. Understanding crashes over me with sickening clarity. The military precision of the scars, the access to training weapons, the authority to discipline without question, the careful isolation that has kept her invisible for years. Beta Warren, her own father. Show me your arms. Your Majesty. Now. She pulls up her sleeves with shaking hands. More scars, burns from hot metal on her forearms, bruises in various stages of healing circling her wrists where she's been restrained. The wolf inside me howls for release, for justice, for the throat of the man who did this. But the woman in front of me is already terrified. If I lose control now, I'll only make it worse. I take a breath, forcing calm I don't feel. You will not return home tonight. Panic edges into her voice. I cannot. There will be, please, Your Majesty, you don't understand. I understand perfectly. I move to the door, calling out. A guard appears within moments, looking surprised to see the Alpha King in the kitchens at this hour. Escort this woman to the eastern servant quarters. Give her a room with a lock on the inside. She is not to leave and no one is to disturb her. Post guards if necessary. The guard glances at Ember with curiosity but has the sense not to ask questions. Yes, Your Majesty. Ember looks at me one more time. There's no gratitude in her expression, only exhaustion and resignation. She expects this protection to be temporary. She expects to eventually pay for tonight's safety. The thought makes my chest ache. As the guard leads her away, I stand alone in the kitchen. The smell of her blood still hangs in the air, mixing with old fear and newer desperation. My wolf circles restlessly, unsatisfied with merely removing her from immediate danger. It wants more. It wants justice. It wants to understand why my wolf cares so much about someone I barely know. 3 years since Liana died, and I've felt nothing. No interest in potential mates, no desire for connection. I assume that part of me died with her, but standing in this kitchen looking at the blood-stained ash where Ember had been working, I feel something stir. Not attraction, not yet. Something more fundamental, bone-deep certainty that she's important. That what happens to her matters in ways I can't yet explain. Dawn will come in a few hours. I need to sleep to think clearly before taking action. But I know sleep won't come. Every time I close my eyes, I'll see those scars. Every time I breathe, I'll smell that fear. My beta Warren, who has served my father for decades, who pledged loyalty to me when I inherited the crown, that same man goes home and systematically brutalizes his own daughter. How many others know? How many have seen and said nothing? How long has she been invisible, suffering in silence while the rest of us went about our duties? The questions chase each other through my mind as I leave the kitchen. Somewhere in the servant quarters below Ember is either sleeping or lying awake, probably wondering what fresh hell this intervention will bring her. I walk through corridors I've known my entire life, seeing them differently now. How many other invisible sufferers move through these halls? How many secrets do these stone walls contain? Tomorrow I will begin asking questions. Tomorrow I will start unraveling the truth. But tonight I stand on the battlements, watching the eastern sky gradually lighten from black to deep blue to pale gray. Somewhere in the darkness below, Ember is locked in a room, probably terrified of what comes next. The wolf inside me paces restless and protective. I don't understand it yet. Don't know why this woman I barely know has awakened something I thought dead. But I know one thing with absolute certainty: Warren will answer for this. And Ember will never go back to that house again. I don't sleep. Can't close my eyes without seeing her scars, without smelling her fear. Instead, I stand on the battlements as dawn breaks across the Cascade Mountains, painting snow-capped peaks in shades of rose and gold. The beauty feels wrong, like the world shouldn't be allowed to be lovely when such horrors happen in shadows. Harper finds me as the sun clears the eastern ridge. My cousin, my second in command, the one person who reads me well enough to know when words won't help. She stands beside me in silence for several minutes, just present. Finally, "You've been out here for 2 hours. The servants are starting to talk." Let them talk. They will anyway. KL Stone Alpha King returned early from patrol and spent the night standing on the battlements like a dramatic ghost. Very romantic, very mysterious. Despite everything, her dry tone pulls a small sound from my throat that might be a laugh. I found something tonight, in the kitchens. Harper's expression shifts immediately from teasing to focused. What kind of something? Someone, Warren's daughter, covered in scars from systematic abuse. The silence that follows holds weight. Harper has been my second for 3 years since I inherited the crown. She's seen combat, death, political maneuvering. Not much surprises her. This does. Warren, Beta Warren, has been beating his daughter. For years, maybe her whole life. I turn to face her. She's in the eastern servant quarters, locked in for her own protection. Postguards you trust absolutely. No one goes near her without my explicit permission. You think Warren will come for her? I think desperate men do desperate things. Harper nods once already moving. I'll handle it. What else do you need? Everything. I want to know how long this has been happening. Who knew? Who saw and said nothing? I want medical records, witness statements, anything that proves what I saw. That might take time. Warren has been beta for 30 years. People are loyal to him. Then we find the ones who aren't. My hands grip the stone battlements hard enough to hurt. She said she was less than no one. Someone convinced her she has no value, that her suffering doesn't matter. I want to know who helped create that belief. Harper studies me with the kind of scrutiny that comes from decades of friendship. This is personal. She's a pack member. That makes it personal. You know what I mean. She pauses, choosing words carefully. 3 years since Liana. You've been walking through life like a ghost. Now you find some girl in a kitchen and suddenly you're awake. The word hangs between us. Harper's expression softens. Yeah, awake. I don't have an answer for her. Don't understand it myself. Just know that something shifted last night in that kitchen. Something fundamental. Find out everything. I want names, dates, evidence that holds up under scrutiny. When I confront Warren, I need facts, not just accusations. Understood. Harper turns to leave, then stops. For what it's worth, I'm glad that you're awake again. She disappears through the tower door before I can respond. I spend the next hour watching the estate come to life below. Servants moving through courtyards, warriors heading to training yards, the ordinary rhythms of pack life. Somewhere in the middle of it all, Ember is either sleeping or lying awake wondering what happens next. The thought of her alone, scared expecting punishment for last night's kindness, it makes my wolf snarl with protective fury. I force myself to move, to return to my chambers, to change from patrol leathers into something more appropriate for the day ahead. My movements are mechanical, automatic. The face in the mirror looks like mine, but feels like a stranger's. Harper was right. I have been walking through life like a ghost. Going through motions, fulfilling duties, existing without actually living. Liana's death hollowed me out, left me empty in ways that felt permanent. Then Ember turned in that kitchen, and I felt everything. The realization should terrify me. Instead, it feels like relief. I position myself where I can observe the kitchen entrance without being obvious. Need to see her routine to understand the scope of what's been hidden in plain sight. She appears shortly after sunrise, wearing a different dress, equally worn and patched, moving with careful precision that suggests every motion causes pain. She keeps her head down as she enters the kitchen, disappearing from my view. I give her a few minutes, then follow. The kitchen bustles with morning activity. 3 other servants prepare breakfast for the estate's inhabitants, their chatter falling silent when I enter. Not unusual, the AlphaKing doesn't typically spend time in the kitchens. Ember stands at the far counter, scrubbing vegetables with single-minded focus. She hasn't looked up, though her shoulders tensed slightly when I entered. She knows I'm here. Some part of her is always aware of potential threats. I spend the next hour simply observing, speaking occasionally with the head cook about minor matters, maintaining the pretense of casual inspection. But my attention stays on Ember. She works without pause, moving from one task to another. When the cook distributes morning bread to staff, Ember takes none. When someone asks if she wants ale, she shakes her head silently. She eats nothing, drinks nothing, speaks to no one, makes herself invisible. At one point, a male servant passes too close behind her, carrying firewood. She doesn't just flinch, she drops, assumes a defensive crouch, hands coming up to protect her head. It happens so fast, most people don't notice. The servant certainly doesn't. He continues past, oblivious to the woman frozen in terror at his proximity. By the time anyone might have seen, Ember is already standing again, hands steady on the counter, breathing carefully controlled. But I saw. And the image sears itself into my memory, that instant transformation from functioning person to cowering victim, then back again. Training, learned response to male presence, to being approached from behind. Years of conditioning teaching her that proximity means pain. My wolf wants to shift to hunt, to tear apart whoever created this fear. I force it down through sheer will. The cook eventually notices my presence growing awkward. Was there something specific you needed, Your Majesty? Just observing. Carry on. I leave before my control slips, before I say or do something that makes this worse for Ember. Back in the corridors, I find my way to the medical wing, to the one person who might have answers. Mom. Iris Chen sits in her workroom grinding herbs with the kind of focus that comes from decades of practice. She's been pack healer since before I was born, delivered me into this world according to family stories. Silver hair braided in traditional style, deep lines around eyes that have witnessed generations of joy and suffering. She looks up when I enter unsurprised. I was wondering when you'd come. The statement hangs in the air. I close the door behind me. You knew about Warren's daughter. I've seen the marks for years. Her hands still on the mortar and pestle. On her arms at the market, her back when she came to me once with what she claimed was infection. Bitter laugh. I did nothing. Why? Because I'm a coward. Warren is beta. It wasn't my place to question his methods. She meets my eyes. I could say I had no proof. That abuse is hard to confirm without cooperation. But truth is, I didn't want the trouble. Easier to look away. The admission sits heavy between us. Complicity by silence. How many others made the same choice? Her mother, Catherine. How did she die? Iris's expression shifts to something more complex. grief mixed with guilt. 15 years ago, officially childbirth complications. She was delivering a son. Both died that night. Officially. I was the midwife. Iris's voice drops. The baby was healthy, then suddenly wasn't. Catherine hemorrhaged too fast, like she'd been given something to thin the blood. I suspected poison, but had no way to prove it. The implications detonate through my chest. Warren killed his wife. I think he killed the son he wanted and blamed the daughter he had. Started the abuse immediately after using Catherine's death as justification. Iris pulls out an old leather journal. I kept records, notes about suspicious circumstances. Catherine had been drinking a tonic Warren insisted she take daily for energy. After she died, I analyzed what remained. She shows me pages of careful notation, chemical analysis conclusions written in firm hand. Bloodroot, in small doses, causes hemorrhaging. In the amounts I found, lethal during childbirth. You had proof. You said nothing. I was young, newly appointed healer. Warren was beta war hero, beloved by the previous alpha. Who would believe a girl barely out of training over him? Her hands shake. I told myself I'd wait for more evidence, that I'd find the right moment. But the right moment never came, and a 9-year-old girl has paid for my cowardice for 15 years. I take the journal, writing her meticulous notes, dates, chemical compositions, witness observations. Everything needed to build a case. Why tell me now? Because I'm an old woman with few years left, and because you're not your father. You wouldn't have let this happen. She stands, moving to a locked cabinet. There's more. Medical records I've kept on Ember over the years. Every time she came with injuries. Every lie she told about falling or clumsiness, it's all documented. Files pile up on her workbench. Years of abuse carefully recorded, never acted upon. Did anyone else know? Some suspected. No one wanted to confront it. Iris hands me the files. We're all complicit, Your Majesty. Every person who saw and looked away, including me. I take the evidence, feeling its weight. You're telling me now that counts for something. Does it? Or am I just easing my conscience before death? She meets my eyes. What will you do? Bring this before the council. Present evidence. Strip Warren of his position and exile him for what he's done. And Ember stays under pack protection. No one touches her again. Iris nods slowly. She won't believe it. The protection. She's learned that safety is temporary, that pain is the only constant. Years of conditioning don't disappear because the Alpha King gives an order. Then I'll prove it to her, however long it takes. Why be you? The question is gentle but probing. You've been dead inside for 3 years. Why does this girl matter? I don't have an answer. Don't understand it myself. Just know that standing in her presence feels like waking up after long sleep, like breathing after drowning. I don't know, but she does. Iris studies me with the kind of scrutiny that comes from delivering babies and watching them grow. Your father would be proud of the man you're becoming. The words hit harder than expected. My father has been dead 5 years, killed defending our borders. I inherited the crown at 27, still grieving, completely unprepared. Then lost Liana 3 years later and stopped feeling anything. Now holding evidence of systematic abuse, something in me crystallizes. This is what it means to be alpha. Not just military victories or political maneuvering. Protecting those who can't protect themselves. Seeing the invisible. I'll need you to present medical testimony at the council session. Will you? Yes, it's long past time. I leave with arms full of evidence, mind already racing through how to present this. Warren has allies on the council, people loyal to him for decades. This needs to be airtight, irrefutable, impossible to dismiss. But first, I need to talk to Ember. Need to explain what's happening before she hears it from someone else. I find her exactly where I expect, in the kitchens, scrubbing the same pot over and over with mechanical precision. Her hands are raw from hot water and harsh soap. She doesn't look up when I enter, but her shoulders tense. The other servants make themselves scarce. We're alone within moments. Come with me. She sets down the pot, follows without question, without looking at anyone. We walk through corridors until we reach a section of the estate she's likely never entered. The residential wing where higher-ranking pack members live. I open a door to modest but comfortable quarters. These will be yours. Lock on the inside. Guards posted in the hallway at all times. No one enters without your permission. She stands in the doorway, staring at the room as though it might be a trap. What happened at the council? Straight to the point. No preamble or gratitude. Just need to know the danger level. Nothing yet. I'm gathering evidence first. But I wanted you to know before I proceed, I'm going to bring formal charges against your father. Present what he's done to you before the council and the pack. There will be consequences for him. She sways, slightly catches herself against the doorframe. You cannot. You don't understand what he's capable of. He's beta. He has authority, respect allies. They'll never believe me over him. And when they don't, when you can't prove anything, he'll take me home and... She cuts herself off, chest heaving. The fear in her voice is more than theoretical. This is someone who has watched escape attempts fail before, who knows exactly how punishment escalates. I move closer but maintain careful distance. I have proof, medical records spanning years, chemical analysis of the poison that killed your mother, witness testimony. This isn't just your word against his. My mother. Her voice breaks on the words. What about my mother? Carefully, gently, I explain what Iris found. The poison, the manufactured tragedy, the years of using Catherine's death to justify abuse. Ember slides down the door frame until she's sitting on the floor, arms wrapped around her knees. Not crying, just breathing through shock that threatens to overwhelm. He killed her. He killed my mother and blamed me. Yes, I spent 15 years thinking it was my fault, that I tired her out, that I wasn't good enough, wasn't disciplined enough. Everything he did to me, I thought I deserved it because... Her voice fractures completely. I crouched nearby, not touching, just present. None of it was your fault. Not your mother's death. Not the abuse. You were a child, 9 years old. You deserve protection, not punishment. But I believed him. I believed I was worthless, that I killed her, that everything he did was to make me better. That's what abusers do. They make you believe the abuse is your fault, that you deserve it. It's how they maintain control. She looks at me, then really looks, and something in her expression cracks open. Why do you care? I'm no one, just kitchen staff. Warren is beta war hero, loyal to your father for decades. Why would you risk political complications for someone like me? The question echoes Iris's earlier words. Why does this matter? Why does she matter? Because you're a member of my pack. That gives you value, gives you protection. And what was done to you was wrong, evil. I have the power to make it right. That means I have the responsibility to act. She studies my face like she's searching for the lie, the angle, the hidden cost. You're going to proceed with counsel charges, regardless of my cooperation. Yes. And if I ask you to stop, to leave it alone, I'd ask why you want to protect someone who tortured you. I don't want to protect him. I want to survive him. If you can't prove everything, if the council doesn't believe you, he'll take me back. And what he's done before will look like mercy compared to what comes next. The brutal practicality in her voice speaks to years of learning exactly how punishment escalates. Then we make sure the proof is irrefutable. We make sure the council has no choice but to act. I meet her eyes. But I need you to trust me, just for a little while. Can you do that? The silence stretches long enough, I think she'll refuse. Finally, barely audible. I don't know how to trust, but I can try my... It's not agreement. Not really. But it's the beginning of one. That's enough, for now. I stand offering my hand. She stares at it like it might be a trap, then takes it. Her palm is rough with old calluses marked by scars. I pull her to her feet. Get some rest. Eat something. I'll post guards you can trust. Tomorrow we begin preparing for the council session. She nods, steps into the room, pauses at the threshold. Your Majesty, Kale. When we're alone, just Kale. Kale. Testing the name like foreign language. Thank you for seeing me. Most people don't. She closes the door. The lock clicks from inside her choice to engage it. The sound feels like progress, however small. I post Harper's most trusted guards, give explicit instructions about Ember's safety, then return to my chambers. Dawn was hours ago. The day has barely started, but I feel like I've lived years in the span of one night. Sleep doesn't come during what remains of daylight. I lie in bed, staring at ceiling mine, replaying Ember's scars, her fear, the hollow acceptance in her voice when she talked about deserving abuse. My wolf paces restlessly, unsatisfied with merely removing her from danger. It wants justice, wants Warren's blood, wants to understand why this woman I barely know has awakened something I thought died with Liana. The grief hits fresh, unexpected. 3 years and I still miss her. My Luna, my mate killed during routine border patrol. Because I wasn't fast enough, wasn't strong enough, wasn't there when she needed me. I've carried that failure every day since. Let it hollow me out, turn me into something functional, but empty. Going through motions without purpose, beyond duty. Then Ember appeared in a kitchen, covered in ash and blood, and I felt everything at once. Not attraction, not yet, though my wolf stirs with interest I haven't experienced since mating with Liana. Something deeper, more fundamental. Recognition, maybe? Or destiny wearing practical clothes. The thought should terrify me. Instead, it feels like waking up. Eventually, I give up on sleep. Rise dress, return to planning. Harper arrives mid-afternoon with her findings. You're not going to like this. She spreads documents across my desk. Financial records, correspondence, witness statements compiled through careful interviews. Warren has been systematically isolating Ember since her mother died. Removed her from PAC school at age 9, claiming she needed private instruction after failing to cope with Catherine's death. No one questioned it. Failed to cope meaning he was beating her. Presumably, by the time she turned 16 and underwent maturity ceremony, she'd been invisible for 7 years. People forgot she existed beyond Warren's quiet daughter who works in kitchens. Harper pulls out another file. The ceremony itself, 8 years ago. Public record shows Ember experienced incomplete transformation with severe distress. Warren requested permission from your father to provide intensive private discipline to correct the deficiency. My father granted it. He trusted Warren implicitly. War hero, loyal beta, decades of service. No reason to suspect ulterior motives. Harper's expression hardens. But here's where it gets worse. I found this in Warren's private correspondence. She shows me a letter dated 8 years ago addressed to someone in the Southern Territories. The handwriting is Warren's discussing purchase of Silvervale Root, a refined wolfsbane derivative used to suppress transformation. He drugged her before the ceremony, made sure she'd fail publicly so he could justify the isolation and abuse. Jesus! The scope of the conspiracy makes my stomach turn. Premeditated, planned years in advance. It gets worse. I found financial records showing Warren has been paying someone identity unclear for continued supplies of wolfsbane. He's been giving it to her for 8 years. Not enough to kill, but enough to keep her wolf suppressed to maintain the illusion of deficiency. Can Iris reverse it? She thinks so, purging protocol over several weeks. But the psychological damage, Harper trails off. Ember truly believes she's defective, that she failed on her own. Having that belief confirmed by drugging for 8 years, that's going to be harder to heal than physical wounds. I take the evidence reading through each damning piece. Warren's crime isn't just abuse. It's systematic destruction of his daughter's identity, her self-worth, her connection to her wolf. When is the council session? I called emergency session for tonight. All members will attend. This is too urgent to delay. Harper pauses. Kale, some council members are Warren's allies. They're going to resist this, fight the accusations. Then we make the evidence irrefutable. There's one more thing. Harper's voice drops. The truth stone has been requested. The words land like physical blow. The truth stone is ancient artifact kept in council vaults for rare occasions when absolute verification is needed. It forces honesty from whoever it focuses on, retrieves suppressed memories, projects them for all to witness. The process is invasive, painful, and occasionally fatal to subjects who resist strongly. Who requested it? Counselor Marcus Vale claims we need absolute certainty before destroying Beta's reputation on accusations from unreliable source. Harper's disgust is evident. He's Warren's closest ally on council. Of course he is. I stand pacing. The stone will hurt her, force her to relive trauma in front of everyone. But it will also prove everything beyond doubt. No one can claim manufactured evidence if they watch memories firsthand. The logic is sound. And yet the thought of putting Ember through more pain, of making her trauma public entertainment, it makes my wolf snarl with protective fury. I need to ask her. Give her the choice. The council might demand it regardless. Then I'll fight them, but Ember deserves to know what's coming, to decide for herself if she's willing to undergo that invasion. Harper nods approval. That's what makes you different from your father. He would have proceeded, claimed it was necessary. You're asking. Choice matters. She's had none for 15 years. She gets one now, Dad. I find Ember in her quarters, sitting by the window watching sunset paint mountains in shades of gold and crimson. She's bathed, changed into clean clothes someone provided. The dress actually fits, showing a figure too thin from years of inadequate nutrition, but still graceful. She looks up when I enter, expression wary but less terrified than before. The council session has been called for tonight. Emergency gathering to hear evidence against Warren. Tonight, she processes this. So soon. Every day we wait is another day he could act, could flee or manufacture counter evidence, or hurt someone else. I sit across from her, maintaining distance. But there's something you need to know, something I need your permission for. I explain the truth stone, what it does, how it works, the pain and violation it represents. Watch her face go progressively paler as understanding settles. They want to use it on me. One council member requested it to verify your testimony beyond doubt, which means reliving everything in front of everyone. All the abuse, all the pain, all the times I begged him to stop, they'll all see it. Yes. She stands and moves to the window, arms wrapped around herself. And if I refuse, I'll fight the request, argue it's unnecessary given the physical and documentary evidence. But they might demand it anyway. Truthstone testimony overrides all other forms of proof in PAC law. So really, I don't have a choice. You have a choice about preparation, about understanding what's coming, about having someone on your side who will stop the process if it becomes too much. She turns, searching my face. Why do you keep doing this? Keep giving me choices. Keep treating me like I matter. Or is this guilt, pity, some political angle I'm too damaged to see? The question is blunt, almost confrontational. Layers of defensive armor showing through. I don't know. The honest answer feels inadequate but true. 3 years ago, my mate died. Liana. We were ambushed during border patrol. I was separated from her in the fighting. By the time I found her, she was already gone. Ember's expression softened slightly. I'm sorry. I tell you because after she died, something in me died too. I walked through life like a ghost, functional but empty, duty without purpose. I meet her eyes. Then you turned in that kitchen, and I felt everything. I don't understand it, but I know you matter. Not for political reasons or guilt. You just do. Silence stretches between us. Outside, stars begin appearing in the deepening twilight. Finally, I'll do it. The truth stone. Because if that's what it takes to prove what he's done to make sure he can't hurt anyone else, I'll survive it. I've survived worse. The quiet strength in her voice makes my chest ache. You shouldn't have to survive worse. You should have been protected. But I wasn't. And I can't change that. I can only move forward. She straightens her shoulders. When does the session begin? 2 hours, but first we eat. You need strength for what's coming. I'm not hungry. That wasn't a request either. Surprisingly, she almost smiles. Small quirk of her mouth that transforms her face from merely pretty to genuinely beautiful. You're very commanding, Your Majesty. Kyle, and yes, I am. It's literally my job. This time the smile reaches her eyes. Brief, fleeting, but real. I have food brought to her quarters. Simple fare, bread, cheese, fruit soup. She picks at it initially, then seems to realize she actually is hungry. Eats slowly, carefully, like she's forgotten how to consume regular meals. When was the last time you ate properly? She considers. Define properly. I eat scraps from kitchen prep. Leftovers that would be thrown out anyway. Enough to function. You're malnourished. Iris says you're at least 20 pounds underweight for your height and build. Warren said hunger builds discipline. that eating too much makes you soft. She says it matter-of-fact reciting lessons learned. I learned to eat just enough to stay conscious for work. The casual horror in her words makes my hands clench. 15 years of systematic starvation abuse, masquerading as teaching. You're going to eat regularly now, proper meals. Your choice what and when, but regularly. Another order, a strongly worded suggestion backed by alpha authority. So yes, an order. Yes. She finishes the soup, then the bread. Color returns to her pale cheeks. Her hands stop shaking quite so badly. Better, I suppose. She looks at the empty dishes. Thank you. For this. For everything. Even if it doesn't last, even if this is just temporary reprieve before everything falls apart, thank you for trying. It's not temporary, and nothing is falling apart except Warren's lies. She wants to believe me. I can see it in her expression, the desperate hope warring with learned cynicism. Years of conditioning don't disappear because someone says kind words. But it's a start. Harper arrives to escort us to council chambers. The walk through corridors feels like marching toward execution. Ember's shoulders tense progressively with each step. By the time we reach the massive doors, she's rigid with barely controlled panic. You don't have to do this. Yes, I do, for everyone else he might hurt. For my mother, for myself. She takes a breath. I'm done being invisible. The doors open. Inside, 9 council members sit around heavy oak table. Warren is already present, positioned to the right where Beta traditionally stands. He looks calm, confident, completely in control. Then he sees Ember and his expression shifts. Just for a moment, surprise, then calculation, then cold fury quickly masked. But I saw it, and so did others. The council chamber falls silent as we enter. Ember keeps her eyes down, old habits ingrained. But she's here. That alone takes more courage than most will ever possess. Thomas Ashford, eldest council member, calls the session to order. We are gathered to address serious allegations brought by AlphaKing Kale Stone against Beta Warren Graves. The charges include systematic abuse poisoning and conspiracy to deceive pack leadership. Beta Warren author, you stand accused. How do you answer? Warren's voice is steady, reasonable, the tone of someone addressing ridiculous claims. I answer that these accusations are baseless and offensive. I have served this pack for 30 years with honor. My daughter is troubled, has always been troubled, and I have done my best to help her despite her deficiencies. If that care has been misconstrued as abuse, I am deeply saddened. The performance is perfect. Reasonable father concerned for unstable daughter hurt by false accusations. Several council members nod sympathetically. I step forward. I have evidence. Medical records spanning 15 years. Chemical analysis proving Catherine Graves was poisoned. Correspondence showing Warren purchased wolfsbane to suppress his daughter's transformation. Financial records documenting systematic deception. I present everything: Iris's journals, chemical reports, witness statements, letters. The pile grows substantial. Warren's expression never changes, but something flickers in his eyes. Counselor Marcus Vale speaks up. With respect, Your Majesty, these documents could be fabricated. We need verification beyond circumstantial evidence and ancient medical notes. I invoke the right to truth stone testimony. Murmurs around the table. The truth stone is rarely used, reserved for cases where absolute certainty is required. Thomas Ashford looks troubled. The stone is invasive and painful. Are we certain this is necessary? We're accusing the Beta of heinous crimes based on the word of someone who has admitted mental instability. Marcus's tone is sympathetic but firm. The truth stone will prove innocence or guilt beyond dispute. It's a trap disguised as fairness. Marcus thinks Ember will refuse, will seem like she has something to hide, or that she'll break under the stone's invasion, making her testimony unreliable. Ember steps forward before I can intervene. I'll do it. I have nothing to hide. Shock ripples through the chamber. Warren's mask slips again, just for a heartbeat, showing genuine surprise. The truth stone is brought from secure vault. Massive black crystal silver veins pulsing with energy that makes my skin crawl even from distance. Ancient magic older than our pack, older than our laws. It's placed on platform at chamber's center. Ember is directed to stand within the focus circle. The artifact activates with low hum that resonates in bones. Silver light engulfs Ember, and she staggers, gasping as the invasion begins. The stone doesn't just force honesty, it strips away mental barriers, reaches into consciousness, and pulls out buried truth. Marcus Vale steps forward to ask questions. Traditional protocol accuser poses queries. Stone verifies answers. But Warren moves faster, claiming his right as accused to face his accuser. I have questions for my daughter. If she's making these claims, she should answer directly. Thomas looks uncertain but can't deny the request without appearing biased. Proceed, but keep questions relevant to charges. Warren approaches the circle, stopping just outside the boundary. Ember stands at the center, silver light flickering around her like flame. His first question is calculated cruelty. Are you my biological daughter? The question detonates through the chamber. No one expected this angle. Ember's eyes go wide, confusion crossing her face before the stone compels truth. Memory projection erupts into the air above the platform, visible to everyone present. Past made manifest. The scene shows a bedroom 24 years ago. A woman lies in bed with a newborn. Catherine Graves, younger, exhausted from labor. Warren enters, face cold. A girl I wanted a son. She's beautiful. We'll name her. She'll never carry the Graves name properly. A daughter is worthless. But the memory shifts, goes deeper. Another scene months earlier. Catherine pregnant, meeting someone in secret. A man whose face we can't fully see, voice familiar but distorted. If Warren finds out this child isn't his, he'll never know. The baby will have his coloring. He'll accept her as his. The truth stone forces answer from Ember's lips, words she never knew consciously but memory retained. No, I am not your biological daughter. The chamber explodes. Voices rising in shock, disbelief, demands for explanation. Warren's face cycles through emotions, vindication, fury, something darker. You see, she's not even mine. The woman I love betrayed me, passed off another man's child as legitimate heir. Everything I did was justified response to that deception. But Thomas Ashford is standing face pale, staring at the fading memory projection. That voice, the man in the memory, I know that voice. He moves closer to the stone, commanding it to replay the memory, this time focusing on the hidden man, pulling details forward. When the face resolves clearly, Thomas staggers. My brother, Finn. Finn Ashford was Ember's biological father. Silence crashes through the chamber like physical force. Finn Ashford. War hero, Thomas's younger brother, died 15 years ago in territorial conflict. Noble bloodline, beloved by the pack. Ember is not Warren's disgraced daughter. She's nobility. Ashford blood, hidden in plain sight for 15 years while Warren tortured her for her mother's betrayal. Warren's composure finally cracks. She killed my wife. Catherine's affair produced this abomination, and when I discovered it, when I confronted her, she was pregnant again. With my child, my actual son, and she let herself die rather than give me the heir I deserved. You killed her. Iris's voice cuts through the chamber as she stands from witness section. I was there. I examined her body. She was poisoned with bloodroot. You murdered your wife and unborn son because you couldn't handle her affair. Warren rounds on her. She deserved it. She betrayed me, and this thing. He gestures at Ember with contempt. This bastard child has been my burden for 15 years. I tried to make her useful, to beat some worth into her, but she's fundamentally broken. The admission hangs in the air. Warren too angry to realize what he's confessed. Marcus Vale tries to intervene. Beta Warren is clearly distraught. These accusations have disturbed his judgment. He just admitted to murder and abuse in front of the entire council. Harper's voice is ice. His judgment is irrelevant. Thomas moves to the platform, addressing Ember directly. Child, did you know about Finn being your father? The truth stone compels answer. Another memory surfaces, painful and clear. Ember at age 9, hiding in a closet. Outside, Warren screaming at dying Catherine. You whore! This isn't my child, you tricked me. Catherine gasping, bleeding. She's innocent. Please, Ember is. I know what she is, and I'll make her pay for your betrayal. Every day of her miserable life she'll suffer for what you did to me. Young Ember doesn't fully understand but files the memory away, buried under years of abuse and wolfsbane suppression. I suspected. Ember's voice is hoarse from the stone's invasion. But I didn't have proof until now. The stone's light intensifies, pulling more memories forward. Years of systematic abuse projected for all to witness. Beatings, starvation, psychological torture, the daily administration of wolfsbane disguised as medicine. Every cruelty catalog displayed irrefutable. Several council members turn away, unable to watch. Others sit frozen in horror. Even Marcus Vale looks disturbed, though he maintains composure. Finally, Thomas calls for cessation. Enough! We've seen enough. The stone's light dims. Ember collapses, nose bleeding from the invasion's intensity. I'm across the chamber before conscious thought, catching her before she hits the floor. She's shaking, breathing too fast, eyes unfocused. You're safe. It's over. You're safe. The words repeat like mantra until her breathing steadies. Thomas Ashford addresses the chamber voice, heavy with authority that comes from age and position. The Truth Stone has verified all accusations and revealed crimes beyond what was initially charged. Warren Graves has confessed to murder, conspiracy, systematic abuse, and poisoning. The evidence is irrefutable. Motion to strip Warren of beta position and exile him for his crimes. All in favor. 8 hands rise. Only Marcus Vale abstains, likely calculating a political cost of supporting Warren now. Motion passes unanimously. Warren Graves, you are hereby stripped of all titles, positions, and pack privileges. You will be escorted to the Eastern Mountains and exiled for a period of 10 years. Magical binding will prevent your return before sentence completion. Guards move forward to restrain Warren. He fights screaming protests that sound increasingly unhinged. This is a mistake. She's poison. Everything she touches dies. Her mother, my son, she'll destroy this pack. Take him away. The guards drag him from the chamber. His screams echo through stone corridors, fading as distance grows. The council chamber sits in stunned silence. What should have been simple verification of abuse charges turned into revelation of murder, hidden parentage, and crime stretching back 15 years. Thomas approaches where I still hold Ember, his expression complex. I had no idea my brother had a daughter. If I'd known, I would have protected her, claimed her as family. She never should have suffered like this. Ember looks at him with eyes still glazed from true stone trauma. Everyone says they would have helped, but no one did. The words land like condemnation, true and brutal and impossible to refute. Thomas's face crumples. You're right, and I'm sorry. He straightens. But your family, Ashford bloodline, that makes you nobility. Everything changes now. Ember laughs, broken, bitter sound. I went from worthless bastard to nobility in one evening. Doesn't change 15 years of thinking I deserved the abuse. She tries to stand, legs buckling. I catch her again. You need rest, medical attention. Iris, I'm fine. Her voice holds edge of hysteria. I just had my trauma displayed for entertainment and discovered my entire identity is a lie. And the man who tortured me is exiled while I'm suddenly nobility. I'm completely fine. She's not fine. Obviously desperately not fine. But she's holding together through sheer stubbornness. Harper appears at my elbow. I get her out of here. I'll handle the aftermath. I don't argue, just lift Ember into my arms. She's lighter than she should be, all sharp angles and 2 prominent bones, and carry her from the chamber. Behind us, the council continues debating implications, political ramifications, what happens next. But Ember has had enough of politics and public scrutiny for one night. She doesn't fight being carried, just curls against my chest, shaking like she might fly apart at any moment. I killed my mother, Tiana. Her voice is small, lost. Warren was right. If she hadn't had the affair, hadn't gotten pregnant with me, he wouldn't have poisoned her. The son would have lived. It is my fault. No, Warren's choices are his own. He could have divorced, Catherine could have sent you away, could have done 1,000 things that didn't involve murder and abuse. His actions are not your fault. You were 9 years old. But if I'd never existed, Betsy, then the world would be darker for your absence. I adjust my grip, holding her closer. You survived, Ember. Against odds that should have destroyed you, you survived. That means something. She doesn't respond. Just shakes and breathes and slowly starts to fracture. I get her back to her quarters, set her carefully on the bed. Iris arrives within minutes, a medical bag in hand. The true stone can cause trauma beyond the memories themselves. She needs rest, quiet, and time to process. Will she be all right? Physically, yes. Emotionally. Iris meets my eyes. That depends on whether she believes safety is real or just temporary respite before the next horror. She administers something that makes Ember's eyelids heavy. Within minutes, she's asleep or unconscious, hard to tell which. I post guards, give explicit instructions about who's allowed entry, then return to my chambers. Dawn is hours away again. Another night without sleep, mine too loud with revelations and implications. Ember is Ashford nobility, Thomas's niece. That changes everything in ways I'm still processing. No longer just a victim I'm protecting out of duty. She has bloodline, family connections, legitimate claim to status. And yet that shouldn't matter. She mattered before we knew about Finn. The abuse was wrong regardless of her parentage. But pack politics don't work on moral absolutes. They work on power lineage connections. Tomorrow Today will deal with fallout. Questions about why Finn never claimed her, whether Catherine told him about the pregnancy, what Thomas's family thinks about suddenly having a niece. But tonight I let myself feel the enormity of what Ember survived. 15 years of systematic torture, believing she deserved it, convinced she was fundamentally broken. My wolf stirs, protective and possessive in ways that should concern me. I barely know her. 3 days since finding her in the kitchen. Yet something about her pulls at me, makes me want to stand between her and the entire world if necessary. Not love. Too soon for that. But recognition, maybe. Or the beginning of something that could become more given time and patience. Liana's memory rises, familiar grief washing through. I loved her completely. Her death hollowed me out. For 3 years I existed without actually living. Then Ember appeared and I felt everything again. The guilt of that feeling anything for someone else when Liana's loss still aches sits heavy. But staying dead inside won't bring Liana back. She wouldn't want me to stop living, to freeze in grief forever. Maybe it's time to try again. To let myself feel, to risk caring about someone new, to acknowledge that life continues even when you think it shouldn't. Maybe Ember appearing in my kitchen wasn't coincidence, but purpose. The moon's way of saying it's time to wake up. The thought feels presumptuous. Ember isn't here to save me from grief. She's trying to survive her own trauma. Any feelings developing between us need to come from genuine connection, not just me projecting salvation onto her. But the possibility exists, and that alone feels like hope after years of numbness. I force myself to lie down, to close my eyes, to try for sleep I know won't come easily. Tomorrow brings challenges. Warren's allies on council will be angry. Political maneuvering will intensify, questions about Ember's status need addressing. But tonight she's safe. Warren is exiled. The truth is known. It's enough. For now, it's enough. 3 weeks since the council session. 3 weeks since Warren's exile, since the truth stone ripped open my past and displayed it for entertainment, since I learned my entire identity was built on lies. 3 weeks of Iris Chen's daily treatments, purging wolfsbane from my system with teas that taste like earth and burn, going down. 3 weeks of physical wounds healing while emotional ones stay raw and bleeding. 3 weeks of Kael Stone appearing every afternoon at the same hour, as reliable as sunrise, asking nothing and offering everything. I don't understand him. Don't understand why the AlphaKing wastes time on damaged goods, on the bastard daughter of a murdered noblewoman and her secret lover. Thomas Ashford claims me as family, now offers resources and protection and the weight of a surname that means something. But it doesn't feel real. Safety is a temporary condition, a brief respite before the universe remembers I'm not meant to have good things. Still, I let myself pretend. Let myself eat regular meals without guilt. Let myself sleep in a room with a lock that actually keeps danger out instead of trapping me in. Let myself believe, just for a moment, that maybe this isn't all about to collapse. The knock comes at the exact time it always does. 4 in the afternoon, never earlier, never later. Kael's particular brand of consideration, predictable, giving me space to prepare. I open the door. He stands there in training leathers, hair still damp from whatever he was doing before this. Storm gray eyes that see too much, know too much, make me feel exposed in ways that should terrify me but somehow don't. Walk with me. The question is always phrased as choice, even though we both know I'll say yes. Have said yes every day for 3 weeks, these afternoon walks becoming the axis my world rotates around. We end up in the private training yard behind the estate, away from curious eyes and gossip. He's brought me here before, shown me basic stances and breathing techniques. Today feels different, more purposeful. Your wolf is stronger and Iris says the wolfsbane is nearly purged. She thinks I could attempt partial transformation soon, maybe full shift within a few weeks. The words feel strange. 15 years believing I was fundamentally broken defective. Learning it was all manufactured, it breaks something and rebuilds it simultaneously. Kale moves to the center of the yard, gesturing for me to join him. Show me your stance. I assume the position he's taught me over previous sessions. Feet shoulder-width apart, knees slightly bent, weight centered. Taking up space instead of making myself small. His hands come to my shoulders, adjusting my posture. The touch is careful, giving me every opportunity to pull away. But his warmth seeps through. Fabric makes my wolf stir with interest that feels both new and ancient. Better, now defense. Someone comes at you from behind. What do you do? He demonstrates the approach, moving slowly enough I can track his intentions. My body responds instinctively. Drop, twist, use his momentum against him. Movements learned not from training, but from survival, from 15 years reading threats. Good, you already know this. Your body remembers even if your mind doesn't trust it yet. We drill for an hour. Basic blocks, simple strikes, how to read an opponent's intentions through body language. Nothing fancy, just foundations. But each successful defense, each moment of taking up space and refusing to apologize for it, it feels like reclaiming pieces of myself Warren tried to destroy. Finally, Kale calls for break. We sit in the yard's shade, drinking water, breathing hard from exertion. There's something I need to tell you about Northern Territories. The shift in his tone makes my wolf perk up, sensing danger. Ronan Blackthorn, alpha of the Northern Pack. 3 years ago, his forces ambushed us during routine patrol. That's when my mate died, Leanna. He's mentioned her before briefly. The grief in his voice when he speaks her name makes my chest ache. For 3 years, tensions have simmered. Small provocations, testing boundaries, nothing that justified full response. Until now. He pulls out a message worn from repeated reading. He's demanding territory, the fertile hunting grounds along our border. 2-week deadline, or he considers it an act of war. He's attacking. Not yet, but scouts report troop movements. He's positioning for assault. Kale meets my eyes. War is coming, Ember, and I don't know if we're ready. The admission costs him. Alpha Kings don't show uncertainty, don't acknowledge weakness. That he's sharing this with me, trusting me with strategic concerns, it means something I'm not ready to examine. What can I do? Nothing. You stay here, stay safe, let me handle all. No. His eyebrows rise at the flat refusal. No. You've spent 3 weeks teaching me to be strong, to take up space to fight. Now you want me to hide while you face danger. That's not how this works. You're not a warrior. You're still healing, still learning basic defense. Throwing yourself into combat would be suicide. Then teach me faster. Make me ready. I stand facing him fully. I'm done being protected like fragile glass. Either trust me to fight or stop wasting time training me. Something shifts in his expression. Pride maybe, or respect, or both. You're serious. Completely. He studies me for a long moment, weighing options. Training intensifies. Every day, multiple sessions. And if war comes, you follow my orders exactly. No heroics, no unnecessary risks. Deal. We shake on it, his hand warm and calloused in mine. The contact sends electricity up my arm, makes my wolf press against my consciousness with interest I'm not ready to acknowledge. The next week blurs into brutal routine. Morning sessions with Kyle covering combat techniques. Afternoons with Iris continuing wolfsbane purges and working on reconnecting with my wolf. Evenings studying pack law and history with Thomas, who's taken his role as uncle with unexpected fervor. The physical changes are undeniable. Muscle builds where only bone existed before. Scars fade from angry red to pale silver. My wolf stirs with increasing frequency, closer to the surface, almost ready to emerge fully. And through it all, KL is constant, present but not suffocating, supportive but not patronizing. He tells me about leadership burdens, the impossible choices that keep him awake, the weight of knowing every decision affects hundreds of lives. I find myself offering perspectives he hasn't considered, seeing problems from angles his advisors miss. Years of being invisible taught me to observe, to understand power dynamics, to find patterns others overlook. One evening we sit in the library, my favorite room, in the estate, walls of books, floor-to-ceiling leather chairs by the fireplace. Rain drums against windows, turning the world outside gray and soft. You'd make a good counselor. KL looks up from the military strategy text he's been studying. You see connections others miss. I spent 15 years watching people. When you're invisible, you notice things. You're not invisible anymore. Sometimes I wish I was. Being seen is complicated. He sets down the book, full attention on me now. Complicated how people expect things. Thomas wants me to embrace Ashford heritage, to take my place among nobility. Iris wants me to heal faster, to be ready for whatever comes next. I stop, not sure how to articulate it. What do I want? I don't know. That's what makes it complicated. KL is quiet for a long moment, firelight casting shadows across his face. I want you to be whoever you choose to be. Not who Warren tried to make you, not who Thomas expects, not who the pack needs. Just you making your own choices. What if I don't know who that is yet? Then we figure it out together. The words settle between us, weighted with meaning I'm not ready to examine. My wolf stirs, pressing close to the surface, wanting things I can't quite name. The moment breaks when Harper bursts through the door, not bothering with courtesy. Northern border. Ronan's forces are attacking, now. Kale is on his feet instantly, already moving. Mobilize defenses. I want every warrior. Already done. But Kale, there's more. Ambassadors from Southern Territories arrived this morning. They're still here, including Sienna Vale. The name means nothing to me, but Kale's jaw tightens. Marcus Vale's niece. And potential political complication if we're attacked while hosting Southern delegates. Harper's expression is grim. Ronan timed this perfectly. Kale turns to me. Stay here. The estate is fortified, guards are posted. You'll be safe. No. Ember. I said no, you promised me training. Time to see if it took. This isn't training exercise. This is actual combat with enemies who want me dead and will kill anyone in their way. Then I guess I'd better not get in the way. We stare at each other, wills clashing. Finally, KL exhales hard. Stay close to me. Follow orders exactly. If I say run, you run. Understood. Understood. Harper looks between us, expression unreadable. This is a terrible idea. Probably. I agree. Let's go anyway. The ride to the northern border takes 30 minutes, convoy moving fast through mountain roads slick with rain. Kale's wolf paces beneath his skin, ready to emerge. My own wolf stirs closer to the surface than ever before. We reach the conflict zone as twilight deepens tonight. The battle has already started, wolves clashing in the tree line, snarls and yelps echoing through darkness. Kale shifts before the vehicle fully stops, massive dark wolf exploding from confining human form. He's beautiful and terrifying in equal measure, all controlled violence and predatory grace. I try to shift, feel my wolf surge forward, eager and ready, but the transformation sticks halfway. Claws emerge, teeth, lengthen vision, sharpens, but full wolf form remains just out of reach. Harper appears beside me in wolf form, larger than I expected, all silver-gray fury. Stay behind the lines. No heroics. The pack bond carries her voice directly to my mind, strange and intimate. Then the fighting intensifies and there's no time for fear. I grab a silver-bladed knife from the armory truck, following Harper into the chaos. The battle is nothing like training. It's visceral, brutal, overwhelming. Wolves tear at each other with savage fury. Blood slicks the ground. The smell of fear and rage and death fills the air. I see Kyle fighting 3 opponents simultaneously, holding the center line. See Harper coordinating defenders with tactical precision. See wolves I don't recognize, must be the Southern delegates fighting alongside our pack. Then I see her, a woman in wolf form, golden fur and amber eyes, fighting 2 of Ronan's wolves. She's skilled, trained, but outnumbered. One of her opponents gets past her guard jaws, going for her throat. I move without thinking, sprint across open ground, throwing myself between the attacker and his target. The wolf slams into me, instead teeth finding my shoulder. Pain blazes hot and immediate, but my wolf responds. Power explodes through my body bones, cracking and reforming fur rippling across skin. The transformation I've been chasing for weeks completes in an instant, driven by desperate need. I shift fully for the first time in 15 years. My wolf is smaller than most dark auburn, with silver markings along my flanks. But fast, instinctive, fierce in ways I didn't know I possessed. The attacker releases my shoulder, surprised by the sudden shift. I use that hesitation, going for his throat. Teeth find purchase, hot blood fills my mouth. The wolf drops, not dead but disabled. The golden wolf, Sienna. I realize the southern delegate stares at me with shock, visible even in wolf form. You shifted. You actually shifted. Don't sound so surprised. She huffs what might be a laugh, then we're fighting again, back to back, holding the line. We work together, instinctively, her trained precision complementing my survivor's improvisation. The battle turns when Kael reaches the northern alpha's position. Ronan himself, massive black wolf, with red-tinged eyes, drugged or enhanced, or both. They clash with earth-shaking force, but Ronan's warriors are retreating, their alpha's defeat imminent. Within minutes, the fighting stops. Bodies litter the ground, some moving, some terribly still. Victory, but at cost. I shift back to human, every muscle screaming. Someone throws a blanket over me. Kael appears still in wolf form, blood on his muzzle that isn't his own. He shifts, reaching for me with hands that shake slightly. You disobeyed direct orders. I saved her life, gesturing at Sienna, who's also shifted back, golden hair matted with blood and mud. She saved mine, Sienna confirms, voice carrying southern accent that turns vowels liquid. I was dead if she hadn't intervened. Kael looks between us, expression cycling through anger and relief and something else I can't identify. We'll discuss this later. Right now, wounded need tending. He stalks away, still furious. Harper approaches, now human-looking, amused despite the carnage. You shifted. On your first try in the middle of battle, you completed full transformation. Iris is going to lose her mind. I didn't plan it, just happened. Because you were protecting someone else. Interesting. Harper's gaze is too knowing. That's not standard recovery pattern. Sienna steps closer, assessing me with sharp intelligence. You're the one everyone's talking about. Warren's daughter, no Finn Ashford's daughter, the ones the truth stone revealed. Ember Graves or Ashford, still figuring out which name fits. Sienna Vale, Southern Alpha's niece, and apparently your rescue mission recipient. She extends a hand. Thank you for what you did. You could have let me die. Couldn't watch someone else die if I had the power to prevent it. I take her hand, surprised by the firm grip. Interesting philosophy. Most people prioritize self-preservation. Most people weren't me. Something shifts in Sienna's expression. Respect, maybe, or recognition of kindred spirit. My uncle is going to want formal alliance discussions after this. You saved his niece's life. That carries weight in Southern politics. I didn't do it for politics. I know, that's what makes it valuable. She squeezes my hand once before releasing. We should talk. Away from hovering alpha kings who look like they want to simultaneously thank you and throttle you. Kael does look conflicted, watching from where he's coordinating cleanup. His eyes keep finding me, but expression unreadable, but intense. The ride back to the estate is quieter than the ride out. Exhaustion settling over survivors, adrenaline fading into bone-deep weariness. I sit beside Sienna in the convoy, both of us wrapped in blankets, too tired for conversation. Kael positions himself across from us, stare heavy with things left unsaid. We reach the estate as dawn begins breaking. Iris descends on me immediately, checking the shoulder wound, exclaiming over the successful transformation, demanding I rest immediately. But Kael intercepts. First we talk. My chambers. Now. It's not a request. I follow him through corridors to rooms I've never entered, private space reserved for AlphaKing. The suite is surprisingly modest, functional furniture maps covering one wall, weapons arranged with precise care. He closes the door, rounds on me. You disobeyed a direct order, put yourself in unnecessary danger, could have been killed. But I wasn't, and Sienna is alive because I acted. That's not the point. Then what is that I can't lose you? The words explode between us, raw and unguarded. KL looks shocked by his own admission like he didn't mean to say it aloud. Silence stretches. My heart pounds against my ribs. Finally quieter. I can't lose you. 3 years of feeling nothing. Then you appear and I feel everything. If something happened to you, if I wasn't fast enough again, I'm not Liana. I know that. Do you? Because it sounds like you're projecting fear of loss onto me, treating me like fragile memory instead of person, making my own choices. The accusation lands hard. KL flinches. Maybe. Probably. But is it so wrong to want you safe? Not wrong, just limiting. I move closer, drawn by something I can't name. You've spent weeks teaching me to be strong, to take up space, to fight. Now you want to put me back in a box labeled protect at all costs. That's not partnership. That's possession. Partnership. He tests the word. Is that what this is? I don't know what this is, but I know I'm done being afraid, done hiding, done letting people make decisions for me out of misguided protection. KL studies my face like he's memorizing details. Finally, he exhales. You're right, I'm sorry. Your choices are your own. Pause. But please, for my sanity, if nothing else, try not to throw yourself in front of enemies quite so enthusiastically. I'll take it under advisement. His laugh is surprised and genuine, transforming his face from stern leader to something younger, lighter. You're impossible. You're just figuring that out. The tension shifts, anger fading into something warmer. We stand close enough I can feel heat radiating from his body, see the flecks of lighter gray in his storm-colored eyes. I should go. Let you rest. But neither of us moves. The moment stretches, weighted with possibility. A sharp knock shatters the bubble. Harper's voice carries through the door. Kyle, emergency council session. Attacks have political implications that need addressing immediately. The real world intrudes, demanding attention. Kale steps back, professional mask sliding into place. We'll finish this conversation later. Looking forward to it. I leave before the wanting in his eyes makes me do something stupid. Like kiss the Alpha King in his private chambers while the pack deals with war aftermath. The council session happens without me. I'm not official member, despite Ashford bloodline. But Harper fills me in afterward, sprawled in my quarters like she's claimed them as secondary headquarters. Ronan's attack failed, his forces retreated with significant losses. But he's not done. This was testing our defenses, seeing our response time. He'll attack again? Probably, but here's where it gets interesting. Harper grins. Sienna Vale, who you heroically rescued, has been singing your praises to anyone who'll listen. Says you saved her life with no thought for your own safety. So her uncle Marcus Vale is one of the most powerful alphas in North America. Having his niece owe you life debt creates instant political capital. The South will support us against Ronan now, partially because you made it personal. I didn't do it for politics. That's what makes it valuable. Genuine heroism is rare enough to be noteworthy. Harper sobers. But there's more. KL announced his intention to formally court you. The words hit like physical impact. He what? Declared before council that he intends to pursue you as potential Luna, which means trials, verification, all the political nonsense that comes with Alpha King choosing a mate. Harper watches my reaction carefully. How do you feel about that? Terrified, confused, like maybe I'm still hallucinating from blood loss. All reasonable responses. She stands stretching. For what it's worth, I think you'd be good for him. He's been a ghost for 3 years. You woke him up. That matters. She leaves me alone with thoughts that spin too fast to catch. KO wants to court me, officially, which means pack scrutiny, political maneuvering, everyone judging whether damaged goods deserve to stand beside Alpha King. The thought should send me running. Instead, I find myself considering it. 3 weeks ago, I was invisible kitchen staff covered in scars, convinced I deserved nothing. Now I'm nobility wolf, fully functional training to fight, attracting the attention of the Alpha King. It's too much change too fast. But maybe that's the point. Maybe transformation is supposed to be overwhelming. I'm still processing when Sienna appears at my door looking far too composed for someone who nearly died this morning. We should talk about what happened and what comes next. She settles into the chair across from mine, movements graceful despite visible exhaustion. My uncle is pushing for marriage alliance between me and Kale. Standard political maneuvering unite packs through strategic mating. She watches my reaction. But I'm not interested in Kale Stone. Why not? He's Alpha King, powerful, honorable, and completely in love with you. The words steal my breath. He's not, please, I've seen how he looks at you. Like you're the only real thing in a world of ghosts. Sienna leans forward. I don't want a mate who looks at someone else that way. I want my own story, not the consolation prize. So you're here to what? Give blessing, clear the field. I'm here to offer alliance. You're going to face scrutiny as potential Luna. Accusations of using Kyle, of being too damaged, of not deserving the position. Having Southern Alpha's niece as public supporter gives you political capital. Why would you do that? Because you saved my life. Because genuine heroism deserves reward. And because, she grins, I think we could be friends. And I've learned that powerful women should support each other, not tear each other down in competition for male approval. The offer sits between us, unexpected and genuine. Friends, I don't know how to do friends. Neither do I really. Raised to view other women as competition. But maybe we figure it out together. I extend my hand. Sienna takes it, grip firm and sure. Friends. Friends who occasionally rescue each other from murderous northern wolves. Occasionally, I'm optimistic about our future adventures. Despite everything, the battle, the exhaustion, the overwhelming changes, I laugh. Real, genuine sound that surprises me with its lightness. Maybe friendship is possible. Maybe transformation includes more than just learning to shift and fight. Maybe it means learning to trust, to connect, to accept that good things can happen to people like me. The thought terrifies and exhilarates in equal measure. Over the next 3 days, patterns shift. Sienna becomes constant presence, dragging me to training sessions and strategy meetings, insisting I need to be visible and engaged. Thomas continues history lessons, trying to fill gaps in my education. Iris declares the wolfsbane purging, complete, my wolf fully accessible now. And Kale. Kale appears at every opportunity, finding excuses to be near, to talk, to share space. The courtship hasn't formally begun, but something is clearly building between us. I catch him watching me during council meetings I'm now allowed to observe. Feel his gaze tracking my movements across training yards. Notice how he positions himself close enough to intervene if needed, but far enough to let me handle things independently. It's intoxicating and terrifying. This careful dance of attraction and respect, of wanting and restraint. On the third evening after the battle, we're alone in the library again. Rain drums against windows, fire crackles in the hearth, the world outside distant and unimportant. Kyle sets down his book, attention fully on me. The council has requested formal trials of probation. The words drop like stones into still water. Trials. Ancient tradition for potential Lunas who don't come from traditional backgrounds. 3 tests, wisdom, strength, heart, designed to prove fitness to lead. And if I fail, you won't. You don't know that. I know you survived 15 years of systematic torture and came out strong enough to save lives, to fight in battle, to stand here questioning the Alpha King. The trials will prove what I already know. You're extraordinary. The conviction in his voice makes my throat tight. When 2 weeks, which means intensive preparation starting tomorrow. No pressure then. He stands crossing to where I sit, kneels beside my chair so we're eye level. Ember, I need you to hear this. I'm not asking you to undergo trials because I doubt you. I'm asking because the pack needs to see what I see. They need to understand that you earned this position, that you're not just the Alpha King's project or damaged goods he's protecting out of guilt. What if they don't see it? What if I'm just not enough? His hand comes to my face, gentle despite the calluses. You are more than enough. You are everything. The confession hangs between us, raw and honest. My heart pounds so loud I'm certain he can hear it. Kale, I'm not asking for anything you're not ready to give. Just acknowledgement that this, he gestures between us. This matters. You matter to me in ways I can't fully articulate. and I will wait as long as necessary for you to feel safe enough to explore what that means. I should pull away, should maintain distance, protect myself from potential loss, should remember that good things don't last, that safety is temporary, that letting myself care will only lead to pain. But looking into storm gray eyes that hold nothing but sincerity and want, and patience, I let myself lean into the touch. I'm terrified. So am I. Bud means we're both clear on the stakes. His laugh is soft warm. 2 weeks until trials. We'll spend every day preparing, teaching you pack law, conflict, mediation, combat techniques, whatever you need to succeed. And after, if I pass, then we see what happens, one day at a time. No pressure, no expectations beyond mutual respect and genuine interest. It's the most honest offer I've received in 15 years. No manipulation, no hidden agenda, just possibility freely offered mine to accept or reject. Okay, let's do the trials. Yeah. Yeah, but if this goes sideways, I reserve the right to say I told you so. Noted and accepted. We stay like that close enough to feel warmth, far enough to maintain propriety. The moment is fragile and perfect possibility stretching before us like unwritten future. Tomorrow brings new challenges. But tonight in this quiet library with rain outside and fire within, I let myself hope. Maybe transformation isn't just learning to shift and fight. Maybe it's learning to trust, to want to believe that damaged people can still have beautiful things. Maybe I'm allowed to be more than survivor. Maybe I'm allowed to be person who chooses joy, who risks caring, who dares to imagine future beyond mere survival. The thought is revolutionary and terrifying, and somehow, despite everything completely right, 2 weeks of preparation blur into single purpose. Every morning, Iris drilling me on pack law precedents, historical conflicts, mediation strategies. Every afternoon, Kael and Harper running combat scenarios, crisis management, simulations, testing my instincts under pressure. Every evening, Thomas sharing stories of past Lunas, how they navigated politics and leadership, the weight of the crown they carried. Sienna becomes unexpected, constant appearing at odd hours with advice that shouldn't come from someone technically competing for the same position. The wisdom trial will present genuine dispute. Don't try to make everyone happy, that's impossible. Find solutions serving greater good while honoring tradition. She sprawls across my bed like we've been friends for years instead of weeks, comfortable in ways I'm still learning to accept. You sound experienced. Trained for this my whole life. Before you appeared, I was perfect candidate, nobility, educated, politically savvy. Then you saved my life and I realized something. What being perfect candidate doesn't mean being right person. She meets my eyes. You care about people in ways I was taught to see them as political assets. That matters more than perfect training. The admission sits between us, weighted with sincerity that makes my throat tight. Trial day arrives faster than I'm ready for. The Great Hall fills with PAC members, allied territories, sending representatives, everyone gathering to witness whether kitchen servant turned Ashford nobility can actually lead. I stand in preparation chamber, wearing formal dress, deep green, honoring my bloodline, silver threading, catching light. Simple but elegant. Nothing hiding the scars on my arms. Those marks are mine, testament to survival. I wear them deliberately. Harper appears in the doorway. Time. You ready? Not even slightly. Good. Means you're taking this seriously. She grins. Go show them what survivors are made of. The Great Hall falls silent when I enter. Hundreds of eyes tracking my movement toward the platform where counsel sits in judgment. Kael occupies his throne, that's the only word for the massive chair radiating authority, but he's not presiding. This is council matter deliberated by those who represent PAC interests beyond AlphaKing. Thomas Ashford stands voice carrying through the chamber with ease that comes from decades of leadership. We gather to witness the trials of probation for Ember Ashford, candidate for Luna of the Stone Pack. 3 tests will determine her fitness to lead wisdom, strength, and heart. Let the first trial commence. 2 families are brought forward. Farmers both weathered from outdoor labor, both carrying grievances that radiate tension, visible even from distance. Thomas addresses them with practiced patience. State your dispute. The older man, Gideon Erlearn, speaks first. His family has hunted the forest between their properties for 3 generations. Tradition grants them rights, and denying access disrespects decades of precedent. The woman Petra counters with equal conviction. The forest is technically unclaimed territory. Her family needs the game as much as anyone, and being excluded based solely on who arrived first isn't justice, it's favoritism. Both have valid arguments. Both have supporters in the assembled crowd. The weight of expectation presses down as I realize this isn't theoretical exercise. My decision will actually affect these people's lives. Sienna goes first, presenting her solution with polished confidence. Award hunting rights to Gideon's family based on traditional precedent. Offer Petra's family access to different territory with comparable resources. It's functional, fair by certain definitions. But watching Petra's face fall, seeing her younger son's disappointment, something in me rebels against solutions that declare winners and losers. Thomas turns to me. Ember Ashford, your judgment. I step forward, buying time by approaching both families, seeing them as people rather than political problem. Tell me about your hunting patterns. What times of year do you need fresh game most? The question surprises them, but they answer. Gideon's family hunts heavily in autumn and winter, preserving meat for cold months. Petra's family needs spring and summer game fresh meat that can't be stored long in warmer weather. Understanding crystallizes. The forest will be shared. Gideon's family has exclusive hunting rights autumn through winter, when game is plentiful, and preservation techniques allow storage. Petra's family has exclusive rights spring through summer, when fresh meat is needed but can't be stored as easily. I meet both their eyes in turn. Both families will maintain the forest together, clearing paths, protecting against poachers, ensuring the resource stays healthy for everyone. Any disputes arising from this arrangement come to council immediately rather than escalating to vice. You work together or you lose access entirely. Silence follows my pronouncement. I brace for rejection, for being told I've overstepped or misunderstood. Thomas speaks first. A compromise honoring tradition while acknowledging present need. Neither family gets everything they want, but both benefit. Well reasoned. Gideon looks unhappy but nods grudging acceptance. Petra seems surprised but pleased. Several council members exchange glances, some impressed, others reserving judgment. The first trial is passed, Thomas declares. Relief hits like physical force. One down, two remaining. The second trial comes 3 days later, with no warning beyond summons to the Great Hall at dawn. I arrive to find the chamber buzzing with tension. Thomas's expression is grave when he explains. A child wandered into the forest last night and became lost. Search parties have looked for hours without success. As trial of strength, you will lead a team to find and retrieve the boy before nightfall, when temperatures drop dangerously. This is nothing like the combat test I expected. No sparring, no physical prowess demonstration. Just a child, maybe 6 years old from the description alone, and scared while I'm supposed to prove leadership capability. You have 6 warriors to command. Find the child. Time is already short. Sienna and I are both given teams sent to different sectors. Professional competition with life or death stakes. My warriors look skeptical. Some are veterans who fought for decades now, taking orders from the girl who scrubbed floors weeks ago. But they follow Harper's second in command to the forest's edge, maintaining discipline, if not enthusiasm. Form a line 20 paces between each person. We move east from the child's last known location, sweeping in grid pattern. Anyone with tracking experience call out signs. Everyone else watch for disturbed undergrowth or fabric caught on branches. We move quickly but thoroughly. They obey more from habit than conviction. But as we push deeper into the forest, something shifts. My wolf stirs close to the surface, senses sharpening beyond human capability. I notice details others miss: small footprint in mud-broken twig at child height, faint scent of fear carried on wind. He went east, then doubled back north, probably disoriented, circling. One warrior challenges me. How can you possibly know that? Because I spent 15 years learning to track threats by the smallest signs. Trust me or don't, but I'm following this trail. I redirect the search, pushing them hard. The sun drops toward horizon shadows lengthening through trees. We're running out of time and everyone knows it. My wolf surges forward with sudden certainty, pulling me toward a fallen log, barely visible in undergrowth. I drop to my knees, peering underneath. A small face stares back, tear-streaked and terrified. Found him. The relief is palpable. The boy Finn named after my biological father in coincidence that makes my chest ache crawls out shaking from cold and fear. I wrap him in my cloak, speaking gently. You're safe now. Let's get you home. The warriors who doubted now look at me differently, respect replacing skepticism, recognition that maybe the Alpha King isn't crazy for choosing kitchen servant as potential Luna. We return to find Sienna's team empty-handed. She's gracious in defeat, genuinely happy the child is safe, even though it cost her the trial. Thomas's pronouncement carries weight of finality. The trial of strength tests capability under pressure. Ember Ashford succeeded where experience and training were not enough. She trusted her instincts and saved a life. The second trial is passed. 2 down, 1 remaining. The third trial is scheduled for the following evening during full moon. The trial of heart, most difficult to quantify, most subjective in judgment. I wait in my quarters as sunset paints the sky crimson and gold, trying to calm breathing that comes too fast. Wisdom and strength were challenges I could prepare for, skills I could develop. But heart, how do you prove something so intangible? The summons comes as darkness falls. Not to the great hall this time, to the courtyard where torches burn in circles around ancient stone platform. The council waits in the moonlight, expressions grave. KL stands among them, but something in his posture screams alarm. Harper looks tense, hand near her weapon. Thomas's voice carries resignation I don't understand. For your final trial, you must face truth from your past. You must confront your greatest fear and prove you have conquered it. Guards step forward. Between them, bound and furious, stands Warren Graves. The world narrows to that single figure. My father, no, the man who called himself my father. The man who tortured me for 15 years, who killed my mother, who tried to destroy everything I am. I thought he was safely exiled. Thought I'd never have to see his face again. He was intercepted attempting to return. Thomas explains, words heavy. Violated his exile. We've been holding him for this purpose. Understanding hits like ice water. You're using him as my trial. Your greatest fear has always been him. The trial requires you face that fear, prove you've moved beyond his power over you. Thomas gestures to the guards. You will fight him one-on-one. Defeat him and you pass. Fail and you are deemed unworthy. Kale moves forward, objection already forming. This is barbaric. She shouldn't have to. It is tradition, another council member cuts in. Marcus Vale, Sienna's uncle, voice carrying satisfaction I don't understand. The trial of heart requires facing deepest fear. For Ember, that fear has a name and a face. Warren's eyes lock on mine, burning with hatred and something worse, satisfaction. He's been given one final chance to hurt me, sanctioned by the very council that exiled him. Look at you, playing at being strong, playing at being worthy. But I see the truth. You're still that pathetic child who cowered while I administered correction. Still weak, still broken, still mine. The words are designed to wound, to trigger old patterns of fear and submission. My body wants to respond instinctively, to make itself small, to apologize for existing. But I look at KL, see the faith in his eyes, the absolute certainty that I can do this. Look at Sienna, at Thomas, at Harper. Are all the people who see me as more than Warren's victim. I look at my scars, visible in the moonlight, silver tracings of survival etched into my skin. When I speak, my voice carries steady through the courtyard. I am not yours, I never was. You don't own me, don't control me. You are nothing but a bitter man who mistook cruelty for strength and pain for discipline. Guards release him. He shifts immediately, large scarred wolf from years of battle. Lunges without warning, going straight for my throat with killing intent. I shift in response, transformation faster now, smoother. My auburn wolf with silver markings faces him across blood-stained stone. The fight is brutal. Warren has size and experience, decades of combat training. But I have something stronger, purpose. I'm not fighting to kill him. I'm fighting to prove I can, to show that his power over me ended the moment I chose to survive instead of submit. He attacks with confidence of someone who dominated me entire life. But I've trained with Kyle, learned to read body language, to use speed where he has strength. Every lesson, every drill, every moment of taking up space instead of making myself small, it all comes together. I get him on the ground, jaws at his throat. one bite away from ending him forever. The courtyard holds collective breath, everyone expecting the killing stroke. Instead, I release him. Step boss shifting to human form. Someone throws cloak over my shoulders as I look down at the man who destroyed my childhood. I could kill you. I have the strength, the skill, every justification. But I choose not to. My voice carries to every corner of the courtyard, to every witness assembled to judge my worth. Not because you deserve mercy, but because I refuse to let you make me into someone who kills out of vengeance. You taught me cruelty. I choose compassion. You taught me hatred. I choose to be better than everything you tried to make me. I turn to the council. Exile him permanently, beyond the northern mountains where no pack will shelter him. Let him live with consequences of his actions. But I will not be his executioner. Silence. Then Thomas steps forward, aged face showing something that might be awe. The third trial is passed. By showing mercy to one who showed you none, you have proven the greatest strength of all strength of character. The words echo through the courtyard. Then slowly the pack begins to howl. Acceptance, approval, recognition that I earned this position through merit rather than charity or political maneuvering. Warren is dragged away screaming threats that no longer carry weight. Marcus Vale watches with expression. I can't read something calculating behind his eyes. But in this moment, I don't care about political machinations or future complications. I've faced my greatest fear and chosen mercy. Proven I'm more than some of my scars, more than Warren's victim, more than damaged goods, the Alpha King protects out of guilt. I am Ember Ashford, survivor, warrior, Luna-elect, and this is only the beginning. 3 weeks later, the courtyard transforms for the bonding ceremony. Torches burning in circles around the platform, hundreds of pack members gathered from every corner of our territories. Allied alphas, sending representatives, even Ronan Blackthorn, attending under heavy guard to offer formal apology for his role in Liana's death. I stand in preparation chamber, heart pounding so hard I'm certain everyone can hear it. The dress Iris commissioned is perfect forest green with silver threading, leather accents at shoulder sleeves that leave my scars visible. Statement that I'm both leader and survivor, both gentle and fierce. Sienna bursts in without knocking, carrying flowers she immediately tries to stick in my hair. Hold still. You're getting married, bonded, whatever. You need flowers. I need to not vomit from nerves. Also acceptable. She steps back, assessing. You look beautiful. KL is going to lose his mind when he sees you. That's the plan. Her laugh is genuine warm. Somewhere in the past month, we became actual friends. The impossibility of it still surprises me. Southern Alpha's niece and traumatized kitchen servant finding common ground in survival and mutual respect. Harper appears in the doorway. Time. The pack awaits their Luna. The walk to the courtyard feels both endless and too short. Pack members bow as I pass recognition. That means more than formal titles. Thomas offers his arm, family escorting, family toward new beginning. The courtyard falls silent when I enter. Kyle stands at the platform's center in formal leathers and furs, bare-chested per tradition, ritual paint, marking alpha status across his shoulders. Storm gray eyes find me immediately expression, cycling through awe and want, and something tender enough to make my breath catch. We meet at the platform. Thomas steps forward to officiate as eldest council member. We gather under witness of moon and stars to bind our Alpha King to his chosen Luna. The trials have been passed. The pack has been consulted. Does anyone present contest this bonding? I brace for objection for someone to declare I'm not worthy, that damaged people can't stand beside Alpha Kings. Instead, Ronan Blackthorn stands. The chamber tenses, warriors reaching for weapons, waiting for attack. But he kneels. I came to pay respects, but I realize I owe apology. To Luna Ember, to Alpha Kale, to this pack. His voice carries genuine regret. 3 years ago, I killed Liana during territorial dispute. I've regretted it every day since. I cannot undo what I did, but I can acknowledge it, apologize, and swear on my life that Northern and Stone Packs will have peace. Kale looks at me, your choice. I step forward, mind racing through implications and consequences. Liana was my twin sister. I never got to meet her. Your actions took that from me. Ronan bows his head in acknowledgement of that truth. But she spoke to me in dreams. She said she wants Kyle to be happy, that we've all suffered enough. I think she'd want us to choose peace. I meet Ronan's eyes directly. I accept your apology, not because you deserve forgiveness, but because I choose to let go of hate. Rise, witness our bonding, and keep your oath of peace. The gesture ripples through assembled crowd recognition that this is what Luna does, chooses mercy over vengeance, peace over endless conflict. Thomas resumes the ceremony. Kale and I kneel facing each other, hands clasped between us. The ancient words are spoken in old tongue blood, oath sealed with ceremonial blade. Our palms pressed together as power surges through the connection. The mate bond snaps into place, fully wolves recognizing and accepting each other with certainty that transcends conscious choice. It feels like coming home, like finding missing piece I didn't know I was searching for. Then comes the marking. Kyle shifts partially canines, lengthening eyes going gold. His breath is warm on my throat when he whispers mine. Yours. The bite transforms pain to possession to belonging. His mark blooms on my throat, visible declaration that I'm claimed mated Luna. My turn to mark his shoulder above his heart, sealing the bond that nothing can break. Power explodes around us. Silver light manifesting above my head, descending like blessing. The Luna crown appears for the first time, not physical object, but spiritual manifestation woven from moonlight and ancient magic. It settles onto me, comfortable and right, like it was always meant to rest here. Thomas raises his hands to the assembly. Behold your Alpha King and Luna bound by blood, blessed by moon, witnessed by pack. The howling begins, approval celebration, joy echoing through the night until it feels like the mountains themselves are singing. But the moment shatters when explosion rocks the eastern wall. Smoke and chaos, erupting guards, shouting warnings, the celebration transforming to crisis and heartbeats. Marcus Vale appears on the rampart crossbow loaded with silver bolt aimed at Kyle's unprotected back. If I can't have power, no one will. He fires. Time slows. The bolt flies toward Kyle, who's turned away protecting a child from debris. My instinct screams to throw myself between them. But the crown flares bright instead, silver shield manifesting, disintegrating the bolt before impact. The power awakens, fully protective magic combat enhancement pack, bond amplification all flooding through me at once. I leap toward Marcus with speed that shouldn't be possible, landing on the rampart in single bound. He swings at me with a blade that shatters against Crown's shields. You could have been nothing. I gave you a chance to walk away. I was never nothing, just a survivor who refused to stay down. But I disarm him effortlessly, Crown's power making me faster, stronger, more than human. And you're not worth breaking my oath. On my bonding day, I choose life over death. Guards take him. Warren's final conspirator, dragged away screaming threats that carry no weight when you've survived worse than anything they can imagine. The celebration resumes, but with different energy. The pack has witnessed their Luna choose mercy, even when attacked during her own bonding, has seen the crown's power manifest to protect rather than punish. That night in private chambers, finally alone, Kale pulls me close with hands that shake slightly. You're terrifying when you're glowing with ancient magic. You're turned on by terrifying. Noted. His laugh rumbles through his chest into mine. 3 years I felt nothing. Then you appear covered in ash and blood, and I feel everything. He touches the crown, still visible, still glowing gently. You're everything I didn't know I needed. Same, minus the glowing crown. That part is still weird. We stand together at the window overlooking territories spreading to horizon. Our pack, our home, our future built on foundation of survival and choice and mercy. 6 months later, Iris confirms what I've suspected for weeks. I'm pregnant, due in 7 months. Kael's reaction is everything terror and joy and protective fury all at once. The formal announcement happens in council chamber, with Thomas declaring the news and the crown reacting in ways none of us expect. Silver light projects vision into air above my head for all to witness. 2 babies, twins, one with Kael's dark hair, one with my auburn, both with silver eyes, mark of Luna's blessing. The crown's ancient voice resonates through the chamber. The broken Luna bears the heirs of prophecy, one of shadow, one of light. Together they will unite what was divided, heal what was wounded, lead packs into new era. The cycle is complete. The next begins. The vision fades, leaving stunned silence. Then celebration erupts. The future secured, the prophecy spoken destiny, manifesting in ways we're still learning to understand. That evening alone in our chambers, I stand before the mirror with Kael's arms around me, hands resting on my still flat stomach where twins grow. Scared, he asks. Terrified, but also ready. We've survived worse than parenthood. Barely. We'll figure it out. Together. Together. The crown glows softly approving. In the mirror's reflection, I see not the broken girl Warren tried to create, but the woman I chose to become. Survivor, warrior, Luna, mother-to-be. They tried to erase me. They failed. They tried to convince me I was worthless. I proved them wrong. I am Ember Ashford Stone, Luna of the Stone Pack, bearer of the crown, mother to the heirs of prophecy. I am the broken Luna who rose from ash, and this is only the beginning.